what are your top 3 priorities for the upcoming budget, and what is your opinion on the budget as it has been presented so far?
Thank you. I think that the top 3 priorities for the budget are, number 1, safety. I think safety is paramount. We need to make sure that all of our children, our students, our staff, everyone is safe. We live in crazy times. Secondly, academics. I think academics is second priority. I think making sure that resources, programs are put in place that enable our students to succeed. And compensation. I will tell you, I do think that safety and academics are equal, especially in times of COVID. I think that because of what we've lived in, national suicide is on the rise. Safety protocols are equally important. I think that I think that we've done that as a district, and I think that they've done that very well. So again, safety, academics, and compensation. I think that compensation makes up 86% of our budget, as it should. I think our teachers need to be paid more. They're not paid enough, but that is absolutely one of my priorities, and I will make sure that we continue to do what we do. I am proud that HEA CISD gave a 3% increase last year when many districts did not. The year before that, they gave a 6% increase. I think that that's extremely important that we continue to do that and make sure. But safety, academics, and compensation are my top 3 priorities of this upcoming budget. Thank you.
Okay, so my top 3 priorities for the upcoming budget. I think that anything that is regarding student need, it needs to be at the forefront of the budget. Anything that is any remotely related to teachers and teacher compensation, we need to continue to grow with the growing district and grow with the, our property taxes. Teacher compensation is very important. Salaries are very important. Teachers work really, really hard and do a lot, and they're not there just from 8 to 5. They're there day and night, and even when they're at home, they're working. They're lesson planning. They're getting ready for the next day, and even on the weekends, they're thinking about their students and what they can do in the classroom. So, again, the first one is student need, and the second one is a teacher, and then the third thing is facilities. We need to make sure that our facilities are intact and in great shape in order to keep making sure that our students are safe on campus and everything that they do in the school building. Thank you.
Thank you. 3 top priorities. Well, I'm speaking like a teacher again. Number 1's got to be teacher pay. Although I will say this, the number 1 factor that they see in student education is that teacher-student ratio. And thank goodness we're not AISD, where each secondary teacher has 155 students, period. I mean, there's just, there's no, unless it's a special ed class. But, so number 1 is teacher pay. But the number 1 reason that people leave their job, any job, not just education, but any job, is horrible bosses. So even if the pay isn't as good, and even if the working conditions aren't that good, to have a good supervisor will keep teachers there. But I'll tell you the number 1 thing that students, I'm real prejudiced, and the number 1 thing that students need more than anything, and it really, really impacts all students, need an intelligent, happy, educated, well-compensated teacher. Because if you take care of the teachers will take care of the students. I know I used to get criticism when I was in TSTA. What are you doing for kids? What are you doing for kids? I would say, we're not an organization for kids, we're an organization for teachers who will take care of the kids. We have got at least 2 months worth of fund balance available, and we've done a great job as far as paying off the bond indebtedness. I go back to 2030. 10 years from now, 9 years from now, with 1,000 new students every year, we've got to be able to meet those needs. So 1,000 students a year, I don't want to say that's an elementary every year, but it's an elementary every 3, and there'll be a new high school before we know it. But, and I know that 75–80% of the budget is earmarked for salaries, and there's just not a whole lot of wiggle room when it comes to budget. But if you take care of the teachers, they'll take care of the students. Thank you.
All right, I was ready with my mass that time. Learning as we go. It's good. So 3 budget priorities, but first I'll say it as it's been presented so far. We're really just entering budget season, and so we've received some preliminary things, some estimates and so forth, but you know, state funding's always a little here and there, and we're waiting on that to get finalized to understand how our revenue will be impacted. We did at the last board meeting get a revenue update, and I believe we were all pleasantly surprised at what that was going to be, so I was happy for that. So my top 3 priorities are, and others have talked about it, I want to say teacher pay, but I want to say something about that. I think it's important that we understand that, yes, we've done a good job, I think, of getting increases for our teachers, but it's really just the start. I continue to be a little, saddened by the fact that teachers at their level of education are still significantly underpaid compared to other like-educated individuals. And I think we need to, as a district, to set a goal to rectify that. We may be the only district in the state that can pull it off, but I think we need to have a big, bold target to go for, and I think we ought to do that. It needs to be our long-term goal. And I think that I want other districts to be envious of us and say, hey, how are you able to do that? And that's where I want us to be with that. So we're going to get there. I really believe we can do it. I also want a balanced budget to start the budget cycle, not just at the end. I think it's important that we do control spending throughout the year, and Dr. Wright and his team and Mr. Rao and the finance group and all those folks have done a great job, but I want to start with that balanced budget. Not find a way to save money as we go, but know where we're going to spend from the very beginning. So we're going to get there. We talk about it a lot. I know it can happen. I also want us to get back to what used to be called the effective tax rate, but the no real property tax increase rate for our taxpayers. I'm very comfortable in saying that when we say there's no tax rate increase, with our property values going up, you better believe you're going to see an increase in taxes. And I want us to find a way to where we can actually put a tax rate in place that keeps that increase at a 0 to as minimum as we can get it. And I think with budget disciplines, if the state would fund us as they need to, I think we can make that happen. And so those are my top 3 priorities for this year. Thank you.